Well, it wasn't a great day for the markets. It wasn't a great day for Tesla, but then yesterday was a really good day for the markets and a really good day for Tesla. And so it kind of just depends, huh? I got I got Nicholas Gibbs. He has many, many things to say about what's going on right now. We're going to save the best for last, though. He and I are going to talk about what in the world is going to happen over the next 3 days in the Middle East, because according to Trump and according to
BB.
Eby, I know his name. I know him well. No, I'm sorry. And then others, it's all going to happen in the next 3 days. So by Friday, this should all be over one way or the other. So, but we'll talk about that at the end. I got other stuff happening in this hour that is breaking news that we will be the first really to talk about it. You might have seen something on CNBC about this today, but I bet you didn't. So we're going to be trying to get ahead of the news and a couple of different stories. But let's start, Nick, with there are traditional investors in Tesla. There are people that are invested in Tesla because of the car business. They really are not even paying attention to the energy business. They're not paying attention to the Robo Taxi thing. Not talking about they're less about Optimus or the fact that we have the largest training computer in the world for real world training already, and we're adding to it. So those folks probably got shy today. I think they're the ones that got out of the stock today. What do you think?
Honestly, Randy, I don't know how many of those people are left at this point. I think today was more algorithmic trading and posturing or taking chips off the table to de-risk from the unknown with geopolitics right now. And I'm sure some of it is also people de-risking based on some technicals that they might have seen that they think, hey, it's time to get out of Tesla for a little bit. And I'm sure there's also others who are, I guess, to your point, maybe worried about the delivery numbers and how that will affect the stock. So, yeah, but in general, I think those are all trading characteristics, not traditional investors. I really don't think there are a lot of traditional investors in Tesla anymore.
Okay. Yeah, because we didn't have a lot of good news today on the I guess you
No.
might call on the fundamental side. People thinking that we might be only shipping 350,000 cars in the first and second quarter. People thinking that we might be shipping 1.55 million for the year. A lot of conversation about the fact that the big bad beautiful bill confirmed on the Republicans, I'm sorry, on the Senate side, all of the bad stuff that was on it in it for us or for Tesla on the House side in terms of taking away incentives, taking away tax breaks, et cetera. So you don't think any of that got into the mix today?
Again, I don't. I mean, yes, but just by either algorithms or day traders.
Oh, I see.
That's all. These day to day moves I don't normally attribute to actual investors. The
Yeah.
big up moves, I attribute those to investors coming in or institutional coming in. The jockeying around $10 up, $10 down, and even a lot of the big drawdowns, I tend to think those are more algorithms. The big drawdowns is algorithms plus people getting scared out of their position or just trying to preserve their capital to make sure that they don't lose everything.
Right, right,
So
right, right, right. We only have 9 business days till the end of the month. We have not heard squat about Model Q. Do you think there is a Model Q? Do you have a new opinion on that, or is it still your same old opinion? What do you think is going to happen with this other car, this less affordable vehicle? I mean, more affordable vehicle.
um, I I think it's still on track for the first half of this year.
Okay.
Um, I think first half is somewhat subjective,
Okay.
So I this shutdown of the Texas factory, I think probably has something to do with it.
Okay.
Um, I could be wrong,
Yeah.
but I imagine it has something to do with it, especially in the United States. I I think I don't know what I think. Part of me would think that they would start with this first in China.
Mm,
But China doesn't seem to have a big issue right now with sales. So why would you start it there?
yeah, yeah.
Right? The US, I think, is going to have more problems with sales soon. Just because I think we're in a weird place in the United States where even though inflation's gone, things are still really expensive, rates are still high, and I think people are starting to feel somewhat strapped. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But I don't think they're feeling good enough to go purchase new vehicles at high rates. Even with the incentives right now that Tesla's giving out, we
Mm.
still don't see a meaningful pickup, assuming everything we see on the Xverse is correct. So if we assume all those things to be true, then this shutdown for retooling seems like it could be something. It could be nothing, but retooling second quarter going to third quarter, I don't know. Seems a little suspicious.
Wouldn't we think that there would be a big rush to purchase cars if the $7,500 incentive is going to go away? Wouldn't there be like a substantial amount of people trying to take advantage of that over the next 6 months?
I don't think most people know about that.
Yeah.
I really don't. I mean, do you think most people know about that?
Well, most people don't know that the car would only be 45, that a Model Y is only 45,000 if you don't have the $7,500 deal. So yeah, you could be right about that. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, like, while I'm normally not for Tesla advertising, this might be a time to go big on advertisements. Be like, hey, get it while it's here. You know,
We only have 2 market days left, Wednesday and Friday, and only 5 total days until the 22nd. I have seen nothing zip zero from Tesla or anybody else that gives me any clues about what to expect on Sunday or whether it's still Sunday or just what's going to be happening in Austin this week.
so I saw a post from. I wish I would have looked at. Maybe it's on my phone. Hold on. Maybe I have it right here. But I saw an interesting post from some guy who I have no idea who he is. He may be someone, he may be a no one, he may be a troll, he may be so important. I have no idea, but I like to think I'm pretty in the Tesla community, and I have no idea who this guy is. His name's Roger. Let's see, Roger. Um, this can't be anything
Okay.
real. Anyways, what Roger says is he said Tesla Robo Taxi rollout likely to suffer another delay for reworking geofence areas. I'm being told Tesla has had multiple near-miss crashes on cross streets with two-way stop signs as their vehicles proceeded through stop signs, leaving them exposed to T-bone collision. I don't know. I'm looking at him. I look at his profile. We don't have any of the same followers,
Wow.
or we don't follow. So, it kind of seems like a troll. But just to go to your point, that's the closest thing I can see.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, he must be a troll because even here he's reposting Dan O'Dowd.
Oh,
So
he's reposting Dan.
yeah,
Okay.
so there we go. I just took this on a pointless trip. But that's the only thing, Randy. I'm answering your question. That's the only thing I've seen was this random thing that just popped up. And even that doesn't sound like, honestly, again, they have a new model that's supposedly better than what I have now. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, if I take over, it's not because I think it's going to screw up a intersection of a two, like that's not a
Yeah.
FSD takeover.
Yeah.
FSD doesn't make mistakes on those.
No, 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 no. So true. Okay, let's see. Um, I think I need to do this again, even though I'm sorry to the audience out there. If you're tired of hearing me harp on this, I really need to hear what Nick has to say about this. I think it's the most important thing that I've talked about in months. Nicholas, if you didn't notice over the weekend, I did a whole bunch of videos on an idea that we are going, that the 99% of the community believes that the most interesting thing that's going to happen in the next 4 years is going to be the end of the ice age. And I've posted thumbnail after thumbnail after thumbnail that what we're going to see is the ICE vehicles going away, electric vehicles replacing them, and that this is going to bankrupt the ICE vehicle makers. Unless they get their act together really, really, really soon, they're going to be out of business. Over the weekend, I changed well, first of all, I've been thinking about this for a year and a half. It has been driving me nuts because as I tried to look at the future, I kept on going, wait, there's going to be this confluence,
Inflection point. Yeah.
this confluence of two different things that are happening, two different disruptions happening at the same time, and that the second disruption is more important than the first, and that is robo taxis, are cybercabs, are autonomous ride hail. And that at some point, and I'm now saying that that's going to be 2028, the average consumer in the world, and we won't have to do any advertising for this to happen. This will become zeitgeist-like, that the average consumer out there will be going, I may not buy a Tesla tomorrow. I may not do anything with my existing car tomorrow, but I'm never going to buy another car again. I'm going to do ride hail. I might drive my car until it's down to the rims, but I'm going to eventually go to ride hail exclusively because why wouldn't I?
We are very aligned, Randy. We've gone through the same journey. To me, let me just say from my perspective, which will mirror what you just said. I thought that we would get to a point where all of a sudden we see ICE sales start to diminish and just have an exponential increase in electric vehicles. It's, as someone who owns a Tesla, not even an electric vehicle, just a Tesla.
Yeah.
As someone who owns one, it seems so obvious. It's so clear. It's like everyone else is living in the past and I'm living in the future.
Right.
And it hasn't played out that way. And I don't think we can sit here and continue to think it's going to play out the way we think it's going to, because clearly it hasn't. Now, it's happening. It's going to happen. It's clear it's happening. I think the Model Y will probably be the best-selling vehicle again this year. It was the last 2 years. It's going to continue to grow that way, but it's happening at a very slow pace compared to what I thought would have happened.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it seems so obvious. You don't have to pay as much for fuel.
Right.
You don't have the maintenance issues. I mean, that alone should be enough, right? Like that enough. Like you have less moving parts. You essentially have no maintenance on the car, and the fuel cost is less. Like, what more excuse do you need to go? Range, that's not really an issue. People think it is. It's not. But there's something that keeps people holding back. And so I have evolved my thinking to realizing, okay, I was wrong on that. And what I have noticed a trend of is that younger people are slower and slower to get their license. I think everyone who's watching this, who knows someone's younger, could probably attest that they see the same thing.
Right.
So that's one thing. The other thing is more and more people are comfortable and familiar with Ubers and Lyfts, and depending on what city you live in, with Waymos.
Yep.
So that seems, and you don't see Uber commercials, you don't see Lyft commercials, you don't see Waymo commercials, yet to your point, they proliferate.
Yep.
Why? Well, because the economics of it makes so much sense. If I land in a new city, it makes more sense for me just to get an Uber to go from point to point than have to get a vehicle. I have to drive myself. I have to run the risk if I get in an accident. I have to fuel it back up. It's just too much. Why? When I can just get from point A to point B, and that's it. And anywhere else is like $5 here, $5 there. Makes more sense. So I am aligned with you that I think as we see autonomous vehicles proliferate, that will be what actually leads to the exponential curve when it comes to electric vehicle adoption. But I also agree with you that I don't think that it'll be so much that electric vehicles go exponential as much as ICE vehicles start to decline, and plotted against electric vehicles, it looks exponential,
Right.
right? So if we go from 15 million vehicles a year being sold down to 10 million a year, but electric vehicles are ones that are still taking the monopoly of that, it's going to look exponential in relation. Because I agree with you. And I made, I was on with Farzad, I think it was last earnings call. Maybe we had a video before. I don't know. But we were on, and I was telling him that I think we're going to quickly, really quickly, however fast I thought people would adopt electric vehicles, I think people adopt autonomy faster and ditch owning a car. And I was talking to Farzad, and he was like kind of not really in agreement with me that that would happen. And I was asking him, like, well, why? He's like, well, people want to keep their stuff in their car, and they have their preferences. I'm like, so okay, so you're gonna pay a car note, insurance, fuel, just have a closet for your stuff? You're not. It makes no sense. And when I put it like that, you saw him be like, all right, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not.
You
You're
know,
just not going to pay for that for a closet.
yeah, and I've said that as well over the years that, there would be people like salesmen and others who might, choose to keep a car even, years after the autonomous cars become, $1 a mile or 50 cents a mile. They might still want to keep their own private car. But to your point, I think you could put together a travel bag. And maybe there
Yeah.
will be many, many people making different kinds of travel bags, a travel bag for children, a travel bag for salesmen or whatever, kind of a briefcase, a modern briefcase that will be specifically designed, to carry, to be able to load it quickly and take it out of a cyber cab. But yeah, I think people will adjust to the obviousness, especially if it gets down to $1 a mile or less. I think it'll just,
Well,
yeah,
and I think people have already adjusted to that, Randy. I think it's already there. It's We just don't have autonomous vehicles everywhere. And I think that's why you're seeing Waymos get adopted so quickly in San Fran, for example,
right.
surpassing Lyft, catching up to Uber. There's a reason for that. And I think this will proliferate, and I think it will dominate. And I do think I was wrong about the adoption of electric vehicles. That's such a paradigm shift for many people. They feel certain ways, but I think the unit economics change. When you buy a Tesla and you go electric, you still have a car note, you still have insurance. Now you're worried about charging all that. When you ditch the car fully for autonomous vehicles, potentially now you have a lower cost per mile. You don't have to deal with maintenance. You don't have to deal with insurance. And who cares about the mileage that it gets? The range? What do I care about that?
Right, right,
It's irrelevant to me.
right,
I don't care. I don't even need to think about that. Now, the only maybe like hiccup would be if people, or if it's so geofenced where I live in the Tampa Bay area in St. Petersburg, and let's say I want to go to Atlanta. If you're telling me I can't
mm,
hail one to go to Atlanta, all right, that might be a problem. That might be a reason why I still need to own a vehicle.
right, right. If you go
But
full time, yeah,
yeah, right, yeah, exactly. But I guess more so not just if I go there all the time, but if I choose to go there and I want to go there, but I don't have a vehicle and I have no means to get there other than have to hop on a plane, that might be a reason why I want to have a vehicle.
just always have one. But you see, theoretically, maybe you could get a Turo, or a rental car of some kind and still make that trip. Anyway, I think
That's a good point.
the
And then you could rent a Model X or a
right,
Model S or
right.
a Cybertruck.
And the other thing that happens with the electric vehicles that doesn't happen, I mean, sorry, that happens with the
It's a really good point.
robo taxis that doesn't happen with the electric vehicle is that the robo taxis, every one of them that goes into use is 5 times a regular car. And so to your earlier point, if we go from 15 million cars being sold in the United States to 5 million, let's say even 3 million becoming robo taxis, that's 15 million. It wipes out the entire 15 million that's being made. So there's a problem in terms of the scale that companies need in order to continue to make cars. And that's where I'm seeing that there's some point, maybe it's 27, 28, 29, but somewhere at some point, Tesla puts out 1 million cars into service as robotaxis, and that takes 5 million cars out of potential new car sales.
That's a very, I think that's 100%. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Something weird's happening.
Uh-oh, what?
Look at Tesla stock.
Okay. What in the world is happening? Let's see here. You have it up all the time. I don't, so
I do.
I have to go get it.
For those listening, we were dropping aftermarkets from, I don't know, 315-ish all the way down to 312. And now we are bouncing off hard and going straight up.
Okay. All right.
I don't know what's happening. I don't know if something in the world's happening. I don't know what's.
Maybe it just got too far down and people started, like you said, either algorithms or actual, retail investors are going, I'm going to grab some of that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Something feels fishy about this.
Okay. All right.
I don't know. Maybe it's nothing, but you heard it here first. Something weird.
You heard it here first. All right. Speaking of hearing it here first, I'm going to switch to the general news.
Let's go.
And you kind of said something about this a few minutes ago, and I'm going to disagree with you. Oh, no. So today we did have quite a bit of softness. We had a bunch of softness. Okay. We saw a little softness in the housing, which you've been talking about for a while. We saw
Doesn't sound like disagreeing yet to me.
I know. We saw a little softness in what was I do this so much of this every day. I sometimes forget what I just did. But we had a little bit of an evidence of softness in the consumer. We had a little, but it was all like a little tiny bit. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, we're crashing. So then Bank of America comes out, and I have really appreciated I think it's quarterly analysis. I've seen their quarterly analysis before. It's usually the most spot on of anybody. And they said the consumer is fine. They got plenty of money in their checking account. They got plenty of money in their savings account. Maybe they're a little nervous about the future because of tariffs or whatever. So they've been putting more money in their savings account. We've seen those stats going by. That was followed up by at least one, if not maybe 2 or 3 different people on CNBC today, all saying that they agreed 100% that that the earnings reports, people are adjusting their earnings for this next quarter. They're adjusting them upward on a regular sustained basis. You and I had talked, I think, last week about the idea that we might have to wait until the second quarter earnings started coming in before the S&P would start popping up above all-time highs, because we need to see those earnings to support it. But what these guys are saying, and these are some of the top guys out there, they're all saying, no, people are already adjusting earnings up. Everything's looking really, really good for the third quarter. And Bank of America is saying the consumer is in great shape. And one guy even said, I forget his name, he said, listen, there's only 2 things to look at right now, the consumer and the Magnificent Six, and those are both doing great.
Wow. So they kicked Tesla out, huh?
Well, he actually said the Magnificent Seven. I changed it because right now I don't think anybody's adjusting Tesla's earnings up.
You know what's interesting? And I'm not saying that it's not warranted, but everything's at all-time highs except for Tesla.
Yeah.
But then again, Tesla's the only one not really showing earnings.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
We gotta,
But plus the all-time high for Tesla was a little bit, it was really emotion driven. which is
Same with Palantir, same with Nvidia, same with Amazon,
no,
same
but
with the
they were,
S&P, same with Nasdaq. What are you talking
but they
about?
were emotion driven in the same way because Tesla was
Same
driven
with Bitcoin. I can go on. They
same
all.
the same this the Tesla emotion driven was because of the change of government, which put a specific opportunity for Tesla to change the rules with regard to the nationwide Robo Taxi. So this is why I've been saying it'll go back to all-time highs in the next 2 weeks, is because that emotion will come back once we see Robo Taxi working in the field on a regular basis, and more evidence that the rules are going to change.
In the next 2 weeks, we've had a long 2 weeks here, Randy.
Well, I did change it again. Well, no, I didn't exactly change it. All I said was, look, the real rollout isn't until Sunday. So, that should be the starting date. Yeah.
This was supposed to happen May 31st.
I understand.
Okay. All right. All right. I have to mess with you on this. I want you to be right. No
Yeah,
one wants you to be right more than I do.
right. Anyway, what do you think about all this? That was like, wow, the consumer's in great shape. Everything's good. And the companies, the businesses, the S&P earnings are going to be looking great in the when the second quarter reports come out. I mean, holy mackerel. And a couple of these people were talking about, no, we're going to go right through that all-time high on the S&P. We got a new bull on the way. And this one guy even said, and I'm usually the guy who is going to tell you if it's a lot of so much bull attitude that it's time to be contrarian. He says that's not the situation this time. It's based on reality.
Okay. So I told you on November 5th, we started the Roaring 20s,
The
in my
roaring
opinion.
20s, okay?
I still stand by that, but it's going to be noisy. It's going to be rowdy. It's going to be unconventional, at the very least for this first year. This first 4 months, 5 months Trump has been more chaotic, more fast paced than what Biden had all 4 years.
Right.
All right. We're just we just got off the starting line. I agree with all those statements as far as earnings. Again, if you look at Palantir, if you look at Nvidia, if you look at Meta, if you look at Amazon, if you look at Microsoft, I bet you those are all cogent statements. Tesla, not so much, but Tesla has its own thing going for it.
Right.
All those other companies, they have the earnings, but they don't have the next 10xer. That's
yes.
Exactly right. So like that's what keeps Tesla up.
Right.
Everyone else has, hey, we got these earnings, we got the revenue coming in. That's great, right? We can see it. We get the P&L, we got the cash coming in, but none of them have that next big thing that you can see or you can sink your teeth into. Tesla's on the precipice of launching that. A couple of those. When it comes to the consumer, I disagree. I think the consumer is getting tapped, and the consumer is tapping debt. And I think that's happening more and more, and it's going to eventually become a problem unless we really start to boom as an economy. I'm not saying we're not booming as an economy per se, but at the same time we're not, meaning there's so much hesitation out there that we don't actually know where we are as an economy. This isn't a boom. Let's just be clear. We're not booming right now. I don't care if the stock market's almost at all-time high. We're not booming.
No,
you know when you're in a boom. Right. You know it.
Right.
You know you're in a boom when it feels like every investment you make, you can't miss. That's when you know we're booming.
Yeah.
We're not booming right now. We have the potential to be in a boom. So I don't agree with the individual. I think the individual is still struggling out there. I think to get the consumers to get into a good space, and honestly, like, I don't care what any of them say, they're wrong. They are wrong. 100% wrong. They don't talk to people the way I talk to people. Like, I'm that weird guy that would just ask people, how are you doing? How are your finances? Are you struggling? Like I'm that guy. I'm inappropriate and I don't care because I just want to know. I don't like small talk. I like to talk about the things that people think are uncomfortable. But they're not doing that. I guarantee you they're not doing that. People are struggling out there. And the one way where we can really be in a booming environment and that it could help the consumer out there would be lowering interest rates.
Yes, of course.
If you lower interest rates, people can maybe refinance their vehicle. Maybe they refinance their car. All of a sudden they have another $1,000 a month where they can like have a little bit of breathing room, where they can actually go out there and save a little bit for an emergency fund. Or maybe they can go and continue doing stupid things and paying for things with money they don't have. Maybe that's the case. I don't know. But the housing environment is not looking good. The car environment, the vehicle environment is not looking good. We see this. It's clear as day. People still have their houses, and many people bought houses on arms, thinking that I'll be able to refinance sooner than later. We haven't moved anywhere.
No.
Even with these rate cuts that we had in September and November,
Right.
They didn't do anything.
No.
So that's my point of view. I think the stock market can rally. I think the stock market continue to rally. But I think the individual, the consumers, won't be able to truly rally in a healthy way. Everyone can rally in an unhealthy way. Everyone can put debt on all day. We do as a country. But for them to rally in a healthy way, we need to see rates come down. Rates, it's hard to say that Jerome Powell is making a mistake.
Right.
Because I said that a while ago. Clearly, I was wrong. Because we haven't had a big issue. But I think the more and more time goes by, the more and more he's not slowing down to get to that stop sign. He's going to blow about 2 feet, 3 feet into the intersection past that stop sign.
Right.
So that's my response to your disagreement.
Okay, so I now have two more subjects, one of which we can really only devote 5 minutes to if we're going to get to the last one. So what do you think is going on with this whole new trend of public officials, elected officials, public individuals getting into confrontations with police officers and other public officials, getting into their face, confronting them, pushing them around, being inappropriate with those in authority? I know, it's getting them camera time. I don't know whether they think it's going to help them with their base, but I'm trying to figure out why they think this is a good way to act in terms of how we're going to show leadership to others who want to have their voice heard. Is that, do they want these people to be coming into their offices and acting inappropriately or are blowing past their security guards? I mean, this is driving me nuts. And now it seems like it's an everyday occurrence. And these people over and over again, oh, I didn't do anything wrong, when the videos couldn't be clearer that they came into the situation and were intentionally pushing uniformed officers around.
Yeah, no, they're in the wrong. Like there's no question about it. They have a superiority complex. They think because they're a senator or congressman that they can do whatever they want. They're wrong. They can't. They also have to abide by the rules. They can't put hands on a police officer, on law enforcement. You can't do that. The same way all these protesters, you can't do that either. Can you protest? Yes. Can you yell? Yes. Can you give someone the finger? Yes. Can you put your hands on someone? No. Can you circle around someone's vehicle and prevent them from moving? No. These are just very common, basic things. And just because you want something doesn't mean you get that something. Just because these senators and congressmen want to talk to someone or want to speak their mind, guess what? Doesn't mean you get to. I don't have to listen to you. They don't have to listen to you. We can walk away. We can choose not to listen to you. We can choose not to acknowledge you. Like it works both ways. So I think they're making mistakes. I think the Democratic Party is still trying to find themselves. I think they're trying to show a fight for their base, and this is the only way they know how to do it, but it's clumsy. It looks goofy. It's not. It's like watching your parents try to use the lingo and the language of the younger youth, and it's like, hey, I'm hip. What's going on? Yeah, bet on God. And it's like, what? No, stop it. What are you doing? Like, that's what it looks like. It's like you're trying, and I can see that you're trying in an embarrassing way, and that's what this is. They're trying to foster their internal AOC. Guess what? What AOC does works for her, doesn't work for these other people. She's a one person who can do it, who gets away with it. She's got kind of her own style, her own swagger. I don't agree with her, but it doesn't look stupid when she does it. Like, I don't agree with her. I think what she says is stupid, but when they do it, it looks so unauthentic. I think it's embarrassing to watch.
Should we ignore it, or should the Department of Homeland Security start arresting these people, every single one of them, and putting them, and really going after them?
You put your hands on a police officer, yes, you should get arrested. End of story. There's no question. If you don't do that, there's a bigger problem, which says that just because you're senator, congressman, that you get away with things that other people don't.
Right.
If anyone puts their hands on a police officer, any civilian, they're going to get in trouble. But these people who supposedly are here to support us think they have their own rules? No. The second you put your hands on a police officer, you're in the wrong. Period. Even if the police officer is doing something inappropriate, you putting your hands on the police officer is not the right move. You can have your day in court. You can have your rebuttal or your debate or whatever it is, but putting your hands on anybody, police officer, not period, is wrong.
Right.
So yeah, you should be arrested immediately. Like, there's a right way and a wrong way. Like, it's just, this is so black and white.
So obvious. It would seem obvious. And it would seem like, again, if you think that you should be able to do that, then the next guy could be a Republican walking into your space and trying to be aggressive and
But sorry, let me interrupt.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen.
I know.
No, that doesn't happen.
I know.
Here's the truth. There's a saying that you want to be dangerous. You want to be capable of severe violence. You want to be able to be a monster and then control it and not use that side of you, which is better than being the person who isn't capable of severe violence and being a monster, because then you are only susceptible to being the weak person.
Yeah.
Here's the truth of it. There are more people on the conservative side, I'll say, who have that ability for severe violence, and they choose to not exercise it. These people who are doing these things, they're not those people. And you can see it, and they're exercising their will in a very inappropriate way. And so I think when you're capable of something, you're less likely to do that something. When you're not capable of something, you're more likely to do it because you don't know how to control yourself.
Boy, is that a great segue. Because right now we have the President of the United States, who has been doing the best PsyOps work I think I have ever seen in my entire life. But he also has the power to do what he's threatening if he chooses to. And the cool thing is that nobody knows what he will do. And that really makes him powerful. So I really, you're not supposed to enjoy what's happening right now with Iran and Israel. It's inappropriate to be to be acting like it's a television show or something, but that's kind of how it feels sometimes. But to say, oh, I've got to leave the meeting early. And but I can't tell you why I've got to leave the meeting early. And I'm going to move all my ships into position, and I'm going to put all these airplanes in position. And I'm going to do all this stuff, but I'm telling you, I have no plans at all to join Israel on the offense. This is PsyOps 101. Everybody should be really watching this because he's done it before. The cool thing is, though, again, you never know who's bluffing and who's not. But if it's Trump, that's even more crazy.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think, we were talking about this before, but he's one of the most powerful parts of our military. And you don't really hear about this a lot unless you're in the military. But one of the things that gets beaten into your head is projection of power. Projection of power is one of the pillars in the military, in any branch. Because when you know that when you know the teachers in the room, you're going to behave better. When the adults are in the room, the parents, you're going to mind your P's and Q's. But when they're not, you get away with stuff. And you know what else? When you have the parents, even if the parents in the room, but they're like, oh, well, it's just little Jimmy. He does that. It's not a big deal. Yeah, he's just that way. Oh, it's okay. It's a one-time thing. It's all right. We'll tell him not to do it. He won't do it again. And you keep doing that. You keep not actually addressing the issue, but you're not a good parent. And bad things will eventually happen. And I think we've gotten that way with probably a lot of countries in general. But projection of power aims to allow you to have military influence without having to fire a single bullet. And Trump is using that in the most adequate way that you can right now with our military. He's sending tankers, aircraft tankers, many of them over to the Middle East at the moment. He has vessels staged everywhere in the Med, in the Red Sea. Even what you think there's more than you know. There's submarines that are constantly there. I remember being escorted. We had a submarine escort us through the Suez Canal down the Red Sea. You wouldn't have even known it was there. Only one was showing itself, and we had 4 others around us. But you have, in the Persian Gulf, they're surrounding Iran right now, is what they're doing. And that's projection of power. It's essentially saying, like, listen, we got you surrounded. Come out with your hands up. Like, it's not going to end well for you. Just give up. Let's find an off-ramp to this. And the best part for Iran is no one gets arrested. All you have to do is come to a deal. Like, that's it. But I am concerned, Randy, like I was telling you before this, if I work backwards from the outcomes, if this is a 1990s Gulf War, I say there's nothing left to talk about. Go. If this is Afghanistan, Iraq, no thank you. Don't involve us. Sure, give Israel the weapons they need, but not us. No thank you. But if it's Kuwait, Iraq, 1990s Gulf War, let her rip. Let's get this done. 72 hours, in and out.
Yeah, well, apparently Israel has shown us that Iran has no capabilities. They've eliminated whatever capabilities they did have. They're continuing to reduce the number of launchers and the number of missiles that are available. I guess probably their short-range missiles are probably still maybe in inventory, but if they don't have any launchers, those don't help them very much either. So it would seem as if they've done enough to diminish Iran that if Trump did decide to send in a couple of, I've said on X, I'd be all for sending in, just telling everybody, telling the world, we're going to send in 5, 4, whatever it is, bunker busters. That's it. That's all we're going to do. We're not going to do any more than that. We're just going to fly those babies in. We're going to destroy whatever's there, whatever we need to destroy, and then that's it. That's the end of the game. But in the meantime, Israel seems to be suggesting that it doesn't matter if the bunker busters come in or not. They have got more clever ideas up their sleeve for ending this war by Friday. So a pretty interesting claim to make.
That would be better, honest. I think personally, if you think long term, it would be better for Israel to be able to do this from start to finish on their own than with United States help, because it would show the region, don't mess with us, right? Like it gives them that air of, we didn't need Big Brother to come in and fight our fight for us,
Right.
right? We could do this on our own. We were stealthy. We had people internal. You didn't even know what we had. We took people out. Like we had so much intel. Don't mess with us. And I think that'd almost be better for them. But at the same time, I mean, and especially if they think they can end this by Friday, do it. End it.
Amen.
Let's get it over with. But it's interesting. Part of me thinks something's gonna happen tonight, where we're gonna participate tonight. But also part of me feels like this won't be over by Friday, and that what they want is ideally to have a revolution internally and to allow them to select their new leaders.
Yeah. Well, Israel said it. They're not coy about it at all. They said we would like to see regime change, but as opposed to the kind of regime change that we've been trying before, where the government, where the U.S. or somebody else comes in and tries to set up a new regime, they're saying, no, we're going to make it possible for you guys to have your revolution. We're going to make the ground soft so that you can do what you've been trying to do for 20 years.
And how amazing would that be if all of a sudden Israel, Iran, and the United States became allies?
Right.
Yeah. What a change.
Yeah. It'd be nice to have the Middle East be off the table as a point of contention. And I've talked about this a little bit on this show, is that if in fact Iran is neutralized, because we've already neutralized Hezbollah, already neutralized Syria, more than neutralized Syria. Syria's a complete flip. The Houthis are still a problem, but they can be, I think, neutralized easily. So if Iran is neutralized, then all of a sudden you've got Russia is all of a sudden the one that is completely sitting there all alone in the West, if you will, as the only bad guy left.
I mean, yeah, potentially. But you still have like issues with like the Houthis, you know? Like I wouldn't say that they're quite decimated yet. But if you take out Iran, right, you're taking out the source. Yeah.
All right. Well, you said a minute ago that the Tesla was booming, but I'm looking right now. We still seem to be only at 314.60. So it looks like it was a momentary thing, huh?
It's still going up.
Yeah, still going up, but slightly. Yeah. Heading slowly up. Okay.
I think someone knows something.
Someone
knows something.
All right.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens tomorrow. We're going into an off day on Thursday, so Wednesday could have a little more of one of those days of like, okay, we got we have to be prepared for a 3.5 day weekend or something. Because Friday, obviously, trading is not going to be like normal.
That's true.
True. Yeah. And we got the
We
Fed.
really got to be ready for Sunday.
Fed decision also.
Yeah, tomorrow's going to be a day.
So,
tomorrow, we might wake up with strikes on Iran.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, we have to deal with the Fed. Tomorrow is kind of a pseudo Friday before the market closes on Thursday. It's going to be interesting.
So we had the market down, and because of that, we got a little bit of help in the bonds. So we are back under 4.4. That's good. 4.393 right now. I don't know what it'll take to get these bonds down, but I don't expect any Fed action tomorrow that's going to help.
Well, okay. I heard an interesting point of view that I think I wish I could give credit to who I heard this from, but I can't remember. But whoever you are out there in the world, kudos to you. It was an interesting perspective, and I think it has potential legs. there could be a shot that some of the Fed members break away from Jerome Powell in an attempt to jockey for position to potentially become the next Fed chairman. It's interesting, right?
Interesting.
Right?
Yeah.
I was like, I hadn't even considered that.
Yeah.
That's an interesting perspective.
Wow.
And if one of them can kind of command lead and get enough people to, yeah, I'm just saying, like,
So,
there's something there.
so could that be another 4D chess on the part of the president, where he's been talking about, oh, I'm going to make
Could
my
be.
decision now, and
Very well could be.
it could be.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild. I hadn't heard that at all. Okay. Oil, not shockingly, sitting at 75.27. Some people are saying it's surprising that it's been able to stay in the 70s, and that we're not in the 80s or worse.
I mean, that tells you a lot.
People think
Tells you how much supply there is.
oh yeah, how much supply. But it might also tell you that people think it's over, or that Israel's not going to really have a problem.
Honestly, it's interesting. The market is not acting like this is a big deal.
Yeah.
Like it's don't get me wrong, like the market's sold off a little bit,
Right.
but there's almost a calmness in the market. There was more of a reaction to the tariffs than this.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Much more.
Yeah, so it's interesting. It's borderline a nothing burger. This whole Iran-Israel conflict, but we'll see. Let's not count our eggs before this is all settled.
Right. Natural gas up another 0.73, sitting at $3 and almost 88 cents. That is high. That's higher than oil, if you will, and compared to its normal natural kind of place. Its natural place for natural gas. Okay. Gold not doing anything today. Silver also sitting kind of, but silver's almost I've been talking about
Silver's moving.
Silver's moving 37.19. We're a buck away from all-time high, even counting the asterisk. So I keep saying it's got to be because there's going to be a lot of silver used in these electronics that are going to be built out all over the world. Do you think that's anything to do with it?
I think it's. I mean, I think there's many variables, but I think it's catching up. Much like I think what we'll see Tesla do. I think you'll see Tesla catch up to the rest of the market. I think it's one of those things.
Okay, so silver actually not trading as high as gold in terms of its historical comparison. Yeah,
correct.
Right. Copper down 0.25%, but still sitting at $4.80, which is high. That would also potentially be something about the amount of copper that's going to be used in the big build-outs. Japan's exports fall at the sharpest pace in 8 months, down 1.7%. Can't imagine why Japan's exports would be down. Poor Japan. So sorry, Japan. We put those tariffs out there. The dollar is down a little bit. Bitcoin down 4,000 to 104.6, but that's not terrible. It's only down.
No, that's not bad at all.
Like 6% from its all-time high. And the equity futures, the Dow is down 0.17%. Whoops, I just lost it. It all went away. The S&P is down 0.16%, 0.15 actually just changed, and the Nasdaq down 0.14%. So pretty going kind of a level there for the three. That's unusual. Yeah, I don't think we can have a clue the rest of this week based on what's happening tonight, what's going to happen tomorrow morning. It's way too much up in the air.
We got to just sit back and watch the show.
And watch the show. Yes, that's absolutely true. Last thoughts about any of our conversation or things that I didn't cover?
Yeah, just last thoughts. I guess Sunday, I'm really hoping that we actually launch
Yeah.
on Sunday.
Yeah.
Um, I'm interested to see what happens with this factory shutdown. We talked about that. We got delivery vehicles coming up. We got lots of little things coming up here. So I guess final thoughts are, let's hope that we can execute. We're not going to have good deliveries. We know that,
Yep.
but maybe they're better than what expected.
That would be lovely.
But yeah,
All right, Nicholas, as always, we appreciate you coming on and helping us figure out what in the heck is going on. And to all of you out there, it's been great talking to you.
cheers.